Canada decided to honor a brave Ukrainian freedom fighter, okay? Last week. And, obviously they had Zelensky there, they had Justin Trudeau, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing, Here, let's just watch this unfold, this glorious moment.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians.
Now, I'm just gonna pause right here. Who fought for independence against the Russians in World War II in Ukraine? Yeah. This Ukrainian hero was a Nazi. But we'll continue on here.
And continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Yeah, and if you're seeing the text on screen, not only was Yaroslav Hunka a soldier for the Nazis, he served in an SS unit, which, if you aren't super familiar with World War II, are basically like the worst Nazi groups. The SS were responsible for the vast majority of mass executions, war crimes, crimes against humanity, etc. Cisco Punch, hello. Thank you for jumping over to riverboat.gg. I appreciate it. So he was actually even worse than that. But it doesn't stop there. Because he was actually part of a specific SS unit, the 14th Waffen SS Grenadier Division, which was a voluntary unit of Ukrainians. So they volunteered to be SS soldiers. Yeah, it's also maybe one of the more prolific, SS units. There we go. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. You'll notice here they have an entire section of their piece here about their atrocities. Although the Waffen SS as a whole was declared to be a criminal organization at the Nuremberg trials, the Galatian Division has not specifically been found guilty of any war crimes by any tribunal or commission. Numerous accusations of impropriety were levied at the division and particular members from a variety of sources. It is difficult to determine the extent of the war criminality among members of the division. If prior service in Nazi police units is a measure of criminality, only a small number were recruited from established police detachments. Among those who had transferred from police detachments... Oh, Kyryu, thank you for gifting a sub to Cisco.
Welcome to Site Chat, friendo.
Had been members of a coastal defense unit that had been stationed in France, while others came from 2 police battalions that had been formed in the spring of 1943, too late to have participated in the murder of Ukraine's Jews. According to Howard Margolian, there's no evidence that these units participated in anti-partisan operations or reprisals prior to their inclusion into the division. Before their service within police battalions, several recruits were alleged to have been in Ukrainian irregular formations that committed atrocities against Jews and communists. In their investigations of the division, the Canadian government and the Canadian Jewish Congress found no hard evidence to support the notion that it was rife with criminal elements. which, I mean, I guess good. However, the division did destroy several Polish communities in western Ukraine. During the winter and spring of 1944, specifically the 4th and 5th SS police regiments have been accused of murdering Polish civilians in the course of anti-guerrilla activity. At the time of their actions, those units were not yet under divisional command, but were under German police command. Yale historian Timothy Snyder noted that the division's role in the massacres of Poles in Volhynia and eastern Galicia was limited because the murders were primarily carried out by the Ukrainian insurgent army. In a speech to the soldiers of the 1st Galician Division, Heinrich Himmler stated, "Your homeland has become so much more beautiful since you have lost. On our initiative, I must say, those residents who were so often a dirty blemish on Galicia's good name, namely the Jews, I know that if I ordered you to liquidate the Poles, I would be giving you permission to do what you were eager to do anyway." Fuck, man. Dude. In June 2013, Associated Press published an article stating that an American, Michael Karkock, who was alleged to be a former deputy company commander in the division, was implicated in war crimes committed before he joined the division in 1945. According to the AP, before joining the division, Karkock served as a lieutenant of the 2nd company of the German SS police-led Ukrainian Self-Defense Legion. The USDL was a paramilitary police organization in the Schutzmannschaft. Oh, God, dude. But also, they participated in the Hutapiniak massacre. Yeah. Between 500 and 1,000 of the inhabitants were killed. According to Polish accounts, civilians were locked in barns that were set on fire while those attempting to flee were killed. Cool. They also participated in the Pidkamin massacre and the Palakrowi massacre. Yeah. So, all around, this guy probably didn't deserve a standing ovation from the entire Canadian Parliament.
His name is Yaroslav Hunka. And I was going to say he's in the gallery, but I think you beat me to that.
And this is Justin Trudeau upon learning that that guy was an SS unit officer.
Obviously, it's extremely upsetting that this happened. The speaker has acknowledged his mistake and has apologized. But this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and, by extension, to all Canadians. I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are commemorating Yom Kippur today. I think it's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian.
I actually didn't realize that this happened during Yom Kippur. Oh God.
Propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine, as we did last week with announcing further measures to stand with Ukraine in Russia's illegal war against it.
Now, to be clear, apparently Vladimir Zelensky, who was present, did not know this guy. Justin Trudeau was not aware that this guy was a Nazi. No one realized that. Apparently, the Speaker of the House acted alone, and he didn't know either that this guy was like an SS guy. However, it's just very, very, very bad. It's so bad. Yeah. However, leaders were left red-faced when House Speaker Anthony Rota subsequently apologized after it emerged that Hunka had served in the 14th Waffen SS Grenadier Division, voluntary unit made up of mostly ethnic Ukrainians under Nazi command. In a statement, Mr. Rota said that on 22nd of September, in my remarks following the address of the President of Ukraine, I recognized an individual in the gallery. I've subsequently been made aware of more information which causes me to regret my decision to do so. Mr. Rota said that no one, including fellow parliamentarians and the Ukrainian delegation, was aware of my intention or of my remarks before I delivered them. This initiative was entirely my own. The individual in question, being from my riding district, having been brought to my attention. I particularly want to extend my deepest apologies to Jewish communities in Canada and around the world. I fully accept responsibility for my actions. Yeah. The Canadian Jewish group CIJA said it was deeply troubled that a Nazi veteran had been celebrated. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. Well, anyway, Canada's Speaker of the House of Commons has announced his resignation after outrage over the tribute to the ex-Nazi soldier. So, I mean, at the very least, he's putting his money where his mouth is. Okay, like he's at the very least resigning. I mean, time to, like, if there's ever a time to go live alone in a cabin in the woods, now would be the time to do it, right? Oh God. Yeah, like honestly, this is the appropriate thing to do. You introduced an SS officer to your parliament and it gave them a standing ovation. Like, least you can do is fall on your sword and like end your career. You know? What's frustrating is that this will probably be used as propaganda that Ukrainians are all Nazis, especially by Russia. Oh yeah, 100%. But also, to be fair, like, tankies were already doing that. Russia was already doing that. This doesn't make it worse. If they weren't going to find that, they were going to either make up something else or just keep running with the state lines coming out of Russia. Allegedly, Poland wants to extradite this guy. Poland is seeking to extradite Yaroslav Hunka, the 98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought in a German Nazi division during World War II and received a standing ovation from the House of Commons. Honestly, good. Good. Yes, extradite him. Have him stand trial for his crimes. If he hasn't stood trial for them before, absolutely. It gives them something concrete to point to. I mean, does it give them something concrete to point to? Like, the guy's 98 years old. It's not relevant to this current conflict. This gives Reagan visiting SS cemetery vibes. Wait, did Reagan visited an SS cemetery? Oh no. I say send them to Poland. I'm 100% behind sending him to Poland. Elderly Holocaust perpetrators still perpetrated the Holocaust. Yeah, I'm in favor of it. I'm not saying, oh, he's old, so we don't need to prosecute him. I'm saying, oh, he's old. I don't know how relevant tankies pointing to him as evidence of current Ukrainian, like, neo-Nazis would be. But he should absolutely still stand trial. I think it would depend on if he went through Nuremberg already. He's a Canadian citizen. Was Nuremberg... Okay, genuine question, because I'm having a bit of a brain fart. Was Nuremberg just for the Holocaust, or was Nuremberg for crimes like massacres and such? Like, would Nuremberg have covered, like, the massacre of Poles? Yeah, like if he was just like kind of a grunt in the SS, I'm not sure if he would have been prosecuted.
The Chancellor
Oh God.
Cole and I agreed together to lay a wreath at the cemetery for the German war dead. That's why I
Dude.
accepted the invitation to Bitburg, and that's why I'm going. There are 2,000 graves there, and most of those...
Dude.
The average age is about 18. These were those young teenagers that were conscripted, forced into military service in the closing days of the Third Reich. I think that there's nothing wrong with visiting that cemetery where those young men are victims of Nazism also.
May I, Mr. President, if it's possible at all, implore you to do something else, to find a way, to find another way, another site. That place, Mr. President, is not your place.
I cannot imagine Eli Wiesel saying this to me and just be like, nah, fuck that, I'm gonna go anyway.
Your place is with the victims of the SS. The issue here is not politics, but good and evil. And we must never confuse them, for I have seen the SS at work.
Oh yeah, no, there's something to be said about like the radicalization of youth and like the young of a country being bamboozled. But the SS are not the grunt soldiers of, like, the Nazi army. The SS were the people tasked with carrying out massacres of civilians. You know, like, this isn't, like, his point about, like, oh, honoring, like, you know, the fallen who were the victims of, like, Nazi propaganda or coerced by the state. Valid, but not for members of the SS.
And I have seen their victims. They were my friends, they were my parents.
The final word has been spoken as far as I'm concerned. I think it is morally right to do what I'm doing, and I'm not going to change my mind about that.
I can't, dude. You're talking to a guy who survived the Holocaust from inside a concentration camp. Oh my God. I've always hated Reagan, but I've never hated Reagan as much as I do in this very moment.